Good morning. Good morning. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Beautiful, beautiful morning. I really do believe that this time we're going to probably have an early fall. The temperature's about 70 degrees, complete drop from yesterday's 84, 85 degrees. And it definitely seems like the sunrise is later in the day as of now. We're going to get right into a few things, folks. Last night I had a conversation with my children. If you remember last week's debacle with my children in the book sale and the lemonade stand and how they completely nerfed this opportunity at their first business venture, we sat at the table and we discussed things like location, advertisement. Now, if you look at the street in front of me, if I'm to notice anything, like many of the signs are posted right along the street side. My children were a little bit away from the street where that person is going and biking, a little bit off where you can't really see it. The reason why marketing works in the form of advertisement, you have to think about location. You have to think about where you're set up as far as your stand is, your product is going to be sold at. You got to think about where that actually is in proximity to the people that you're looking to sell to. One of the things I had to teach my kids was that first they had to launch a campaign. Launching a campaign when you're trying to sell a product is you're gearing up and making people aware of the actual sales event. You're going to advertise in a certain way. How are you going to advertise? Well, one of the things they could have done is you're going to do a lemonade stand on a hot day, and who is your target client? You're probably selling to other kids, right? So if I'm selling to other kids, I want to go and let people know where the lemonade stand is, but I got to go where the other kids are. And in the apartment complex we live, there are two places in the summertime where most kids will congregate. That will be the pool and the playground. You don't have to go far to advertise because at that location, you already have many of your target, the people that you are looking to sell to, they're already at that location. There are going to be tons of kids coming there all day, which means that your advertisement would also need to be somewhat in proximity to that location, or your location should be at that exact site itself, because that's going to give you the best bang for your buck, because again, you're right where the feeding grounds are. You're right where the target, there's massive amounts of those clients and people you're looking to sell to, they're there. That's something that you have to think about when you're setting up a campaign. You don't want to sell ice in a winter storm. Doesn't make sense, right? Because no one can see the ice you're selling, let alone the size. It doesn't make sense. You're not selling something where people can first know what you're selling, be aware of your product. Come on, man. The guy's old. He's gotten over. Like, it's some people driving. I swear, this is going to be part of the video from now on. For anybody who watches regularly, the part of the video is going to be how long we get into the video before I'm aggravated at someone driving. And that's usually, we're right at the 3-minute mark. That's just about right. So any which way, and I apologize, my allergies, the change of seasons mean the change of my allergies, which means I might sniffle. I don't have a white horse habit. So the whole point is you should think about your location, and then you should think about your pre-advertisement. There are days beforehand where the children should have been doing some form of pre-marketing, pre-advertisement, going where the children are and getting the word of mouth spread around that, hey, we're going to have this lemonade sale. And like I said, I told my kids, if you look at gas stations, as we're driving down this road, most of the advertisements are right at the street level within your eye's view. My children just sat, they sat like where the CVS is in the back, where driving down the street at 20 miles an hour, you're not so readily aware. It just looks like kids are playing. And we talked about that. Those are the fundamentals about, creating a sale. It's proximity and location. And then your signage, right? The way people visualize the sale in the form of visual advertisement. which is a key thing. They had a sign at the back of my wife's gray car, like in front of this Corolla, on the antenna there that wasn't bright. And also, there was a car positioned right where I am. So if you're coming down the street and she's parked on the street side, I'm actually blocking the view of her advertisement. Another mistake. So there's no visualization. We talked about the 5 friends that they had working for them. Good idea to get employees right away to go out there and do, so you don't have to work harder, you can work smarter. The problem was the wages, right? The wages that they were going to pay them. That was the biggest issue. I don't know why I just went 0 dark 30 just a second ago. I think that's just how dim it got with the sun in the inner cabin here. But the wages that they were going to pay their employee, it was a fixed rate. And I wrote down, when I talked to my children, I actually wrote it down on a piece of paper so they could visualize it. Sometimes it's not helpful to just sit there and talk to your children and just give them the verbal dialogue, because children have a short attention span. But when I'm writing down things, keeping in mind what is their goal, I'm writing down things so these key words they can learn. They had to learn words like ROI. What does that mean? So let me not skip all around so it sounds very confusing. But again, my whole point of telling you all this is I'm touching on lessons to educate my children. And for some people who may be looking to venture into the sales world and be a marketer or an advertiser, you're not using Chat GPT, or you're using Chat GPT, you still cannot skip the steps. And okay, Chat GPT just gives you the prompt, but it doesn't tell you how to differentiate between being on this side of the highway or that side of the highway. It won't give you that know-how. That's where your business acumen has to come into play. You have to be aware of and look at, okay, hey, where am I going to be positioned at? Which means, again, you have to be pre-planning. They should have got their friends involved ahead of time, which means, hey, I want you guys to go out and tell people, go to the playground, go here, go do that, go do this. And if you bring me back, because they have 5 friends, 10 people apiece, then they would have made money off their friends' effort alone. And that's something they didn't think about. And then my daughter paying the kids because they had hard work. And I kept asking this one question: how do you validate a person's hard work? Well, they went to these, okay, they went to this location, that location, this location. Well, you saw them walk, but how do you know that they brought you back confirmed clients? You do that by creating incentive for the sale. That's how that happens. And my daughter kept telling me where they went and where she saw them go, but she could not confirm to me that they brought in any actual clients. See, this is what I'm talking about again. This guy right here. You're in the right lane. Instead of getting over with this massive merge in, this guy right here, not the Jeep, the white van in front of me, pest control asshole here. Instead of getting over into this middle lane, which he had time, this jackass right here stayed in the right lane, and there are 5 fucking cars that need to get over. You know who's the pest? You fat ass. This guy. So I said, don't give a shit about anybody else on the road but himself. And he's supposed to get rid of pests, and he is one. Road pest. Any which way. As you can see, I'm upset. It's just, you cause an accident, man. One car in front of you so many lives can be ruined by one jerk off's, he don't want to get over and move out of the way. I want to stay here, and I'm going to let the cars work in between me instead of getting over. You're in an emerging lane where cars are merging in. Any which way. I hope some younger people learn how to be better drivers by watching the idiots that I drive around. Any which way. So my daughter could not validate, she could not give me hard proof that her friends were working hard. They brought me back clients. You're emotional about the sale. I had to explain that to my children, because believe it or not, your children are making business deals on a small level every single day. And they're being manipulated by friends every single day. They're being persuaded. Now, manipulation doesn't have to be good, bad. It doesn't have to be good, but they're being manipulated nonetheless. And you have to be aware of that, that when they're interacting with their friends, it is a tug of war between what the friend wants to do and convincing their other friends to go along with it. That's the whole point of playing. If you've ever watched children play, children, let's play this game. Now, I don't want to play that game. Then they start arguing over here. The most persuasive person in that group is the best manipulator in that group, because they have persuaded everyone else to move to their goal, to accomplish their outcome, to do what they wanted them to do. And again, they may do that by force. They may do that by walking away. They may do that by not, threatening not to be friends with them. They may do it by being, conceding, saying, hey, I'll do this if you do that. Let's split up games, by bargaining. Oh, that's a dead deer on the road. Baby deer too, a little young. Oh, that was a young one. Oh, that's sad. Full of life. But hey, even in the movie Bambi had to go, right? Now, in this situation, there's full traffic. It is impossible for a person to merge over and say, hey, I'm just going to let, get in the left lane. There's no room. So in this situation, you either speed up to let the car get behind you, or you slow down to let them get in front of you. It's usually every car is going to yield. Every other car will yield in. Meaning a car go in front of me, car going back of me. That's the right way you want to do it. But if you can get over, you should get over to allow these merging lanes. I just came into this is a merging lane. I'm going to get over to get out of the damn way. So people, whoa, okay, I got to make sure I do it more than that. Oh, the sun is so bright now. Woo. To make sure I get out of the way so people can actually merge over. You see these 3 cars over here to the right? You may or may not be able to see them. Look at this guy. He's going to get over. What an idiot. You're supposed to stay in this lane, man. It's a merging lane. Golly, this probably should be a traffic video. I should just do a traffic channel. Driving to Philly and the dangers afoot. That's a YouTube channel. New idea for me. Because, I mean, this guy, look at him. Any which way. All right, folks, we had to continue the video there. I had to put it all on me. The sun is way too bright here. I mean, it looks like I'm a vampire, and the sun is just trying to do away with me, turn me into ash and bone. Any which way. My whole point in that with the kids is my daughter, she paid the kids a fixed rate. One of the reasons, excuse me, why they call people with a 9-to-5 debt slaves is because you get paid a fixed rate. So if I get paid, I don't know, let's say $100 an hour to go in and do my job, and another nurse gets paid $100 an hour, just using the figure, I do not get paid $100. I used to when I travel to California, but not anymore. If I'm getting paid $100 and another nurse is getting paid $100, the level of which we have to perform, it doesn't really matter. I can be a good nurse. The other nurse can be a bad nurse. They can leave a lot of stuff left on the table for their patient care in a day, meaning they don't get all of their work done. It gets handed off to the next person. I could get all of my work done, but because we get paid a fixed rate, there is no difference in whether they're a better nurse than I am. The only thing that matters is, do they get more complaints? Do they have bad patient outcomes? Or they do something that would actually harm their patient? If they don't do that, then it doesn't matter if they're a bad nurse, slow nurse, and they have to get stuff done. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. They're still going to get paid the same if they're good or bad. I try to explain that to my kids. You don't pay people who are looking to get something from you a fixed rate unless that is the rate discussed at the end of their outcome, meaning that the children went out there, worked, they brought you, 5 people, and based upon their efforts, you decide them to pay a fixed rate based upon their effort once you get to validate the clients they brought to you, the customers they brought to you. I have people that work for me. There are people who get paid a fixed rate, like a salary, if you will, but they have responsibilities. They have to do things every day, and sometimes their responsibilities may go outside of what they are required to do. When you're a person that gets paid a fixed rate, you do a job or the job, and that's it, it's done. You might not do a great job, but still you're paid for doing the job nonetheless. You don't get paid for performance. And if this is a performance position, they should get paid based upon their performance. Now, I waited this long to talk to my kids about it because I wanted them to have time to reflect on it. I did not want to just now come, right after the moment. I wanted to talk to them, especially when I was over my daughter lying to me about it. But the first thing I did was ask my daughter, talk to me about what happened that day. She went to run down the events. No, I said, no, that's not what I'm asking. And I waited. I didn't go directly to what I wanted to know from her. I wanted to see if she could figure out what information I was looking to get from her. And she went right to it. She went right to analyzing what she did wrong and what mistakes she made. And that's training your children to think, not give them the answer. And that's where a lot of kids get bogged down, and we as parents fail our children because we do less of letting them think and we start answering for them. Now, I'm not saying there are times where you should not give your kid the lead and say, hey, I'm going to guide you through this information so you can come up with an answer. We should always be doing that. We should be leading with information and letting them come to an understanding in the form of an answer. Again, we as parents should be leading with information, and the children should be gathering the information for an understanding to come with an answer. Even if it's the wrong answer, the practice of doing that will lead your children to be critical thinkers, which means that, like in my other video, they will get it wrong enough, they will start to learn to get it right, because they will start to, under the information they will start to build up is their mistakes, what they've done, what they've learned. And when they run around to this problem again, when they see it again, they will be better equipped to be able to handle and make a necessary decision. They will also be able to evaluate the differences on why they should make the same decision, because in this circumstance, they had different variables that played a role in why they should stay the course. And in other times, they'll know when this happens, I need to switch to this modality. I need to do this instead. When a baby cries, you don't always go and feed it a bottle. Sometimes you got to check and make sure they haven't peed. If they haven't peed, you got to check and make sure they haven't pooped. Yes, sometimes babies poop and they don't pee. And then sometimes they need a bottle. Sometimes they need a burp.
You have an incoming call.
It's like my mom tends to call me to talk to me, and then sometimes says she's not available, then she is available, then she'll call me. She isn't available. I don't know which one it is, but away we go. So again, not always the same methods will work for the same reasons. But what we're doing here is teaching my children to understand the basics of business. And this is what I talk about. This is what I talk about when the wealthy class, the lessons are being taught at home. They're being taught very early. They're being taught at 8, 10 years old, because that's how old my children are. I'm not saying I'm wealthy, but you could imagine people with more resources that have more wealth. If I'm teaching my children this and it's on a smaller scale, what do you think the wealthy people are teaching their children? Just think about that for a minute. Think about what the wealthy people are having discussions with their children. If I'm talking about ROI, if I'm talking about how to make your employees incentivized, not paying them a fixed rate, you've got to think about that. They're giving a much deeper and larger game. They're not learning it in school. What they're learning is how to run corporate businesses in school, but they're not learning how to understand a business in school because they're being taught that at home. They're being taught which lawyers to hire, where to go. They're being taught processes by their actual parents who've done it. Because again, most information is learned through experience. I mean, hell, that's all this is that people came before us and made mistakes. They've learned, experimented, and then they've gained experience and they brought that knowledge forward. No one started with all the information. Things had to be learned, and that's how children become successful. They actually learn, which is one of the reasons why we attempt to send our children to school. But again, the learning always starts at home. I'm going to keep it very simple on that, folks. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Don't forget, if you need something to learn, buy my book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing, on Amazon. The link is in the description below. I hope you've been educated in turn and entertained and enlightened. If you need references to the conversational points that I'm talking about, there's a video called Why My Kids Failed at Their First Business Adventure. It's going to be down there. I try to link the video where you can understand exactly what I'm talking about, because I go into detail all the things that happened during that business venture when they did the lemonade stand and they did the book sale. This is 2 sales, and they failed at it. Many things they did wrong, but this is the conversation we had afterwards. Really, it's not about telling them to do a different outcome. It's about educating them on the things they should have been aware of and the planning that should have went ahead of their actions. And that's what we talk about, mindset. This is a video about mindset and understanding how your mindset dictates your actions. And when you don't plan, you plan to fail. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands. Have a great day. I'm enjoying this beautiful sun. Take care, and I'm out. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Philip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you'll gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.